TCG Investments, investing in Magic. Even if you play Yu-Gi-Oh or any other card game, it doesn't hurt to invest in other card games for making money, because it's trading card game investments. You don't have to specifically invest in the game you play, but it's more fun if you do invest in the game you play, right? But if you're just in the mood for just investing in period, then obviously invest into as many card games as you possibly can, so you can increase your chances of making money. Lots of it. Some games, the value of some cards are way higher than some other games. In Magic, for example, there's cards that are worth $500 by themselves, thousands of dollars. So why limit yourself to just investing in the game that you currently play, where the highest value of a card on average would be like around $80. $80 is nice, but why not try to invest in stuff where a card can be worth $1,000, $10,000, $20,000? You know what I mean? Just something to think about. All right, so Magic is more of a long-term investment type thing than short-term. You can do short-term, but more likely the thing with short-term is you basically have to find stuff that is very popular, try to get some really good deals. Like if you get a Planeswalker that currently is like an $80 card, but you're able to get it for like $40, that right there would be a short-term investment, because you can just go around. You can flip it right afterwards, right? After you pay $40 for it, go find somebody who will pay you $80 for it. You know what I mean? Boom, there you go. That's a short-term investment. But to buy a card for like a dollar, or a playset of cards for $1, and then expect it to go, become a $20 playset in about a month or two, not likely to happen. But if you're good at doing stuff like that, hey, you do you. I'm not an expert at this yet. I mainly do Yu-Gi-Oh for short-term investments, and I got a couple long-term investments, but mainly I try to focus on short terms. But in Magic, from my personal experience, it's mainly long-term. The only time I make quick money off of Magic is by flipping, by buying Commander products, especially old ones like 2014, for example, because they got Planeswalkers as commanders in there. So, Planeswalker is something you definitely can invest in, and you can make some good money from that. Because eventually, at any point, a Planeswalker can be worth more than what you pay for. If you pay $5 for a Planeswalker, in a year or so, it could be worth $10 or $15, right? Might not sound like a lot of money, especially when you have to consider a year or two of waiting for the card to go up in value. It's only a $5 to $10 increase. It's still an increase. Now that's the thing. If you buy a whole bunch, then it's not that bad, because then when they do become $10, $15 Planeswalkers, and then you start liquidating them, start selling them all, you can get a big chunk of change. But that's the thing, is you got to put in more to get more when you're doing something like that. You prefer to put in less and get more, which is, the typical thing when it comes to investing you want to do. So that's why this game for me is, when it comes to investing, is a long-term thing, and you definitely want to spend the least amount of money, because you're going to have to be waiting a long time for it to bear fruit. When it bears fruit, you want it to be a lot more than you put into it. So if I spend like $100 and then into cards, and then they become $10,000 a year in value, all right, that's worth it. 1 year to wait for $10,000 off of a $100 investment, that's acceptable. But if I have to spend $10,000 just to try to get $15,000 return, and it takes me like 3 to 4 years, it's like, yeah, mathematically it doesn't bode too well. I could have put the $10,000 to something else. I could have bought a house, fixed it up, and flipped it for more way faster. You know what I mean? Like, there are faster money making options. And if you're the type of person who wants to make money quick, then obviously you wanna invest in stuff that you can make money in faster, like sealed products, intro packs. Those would be some short-term stuff you can invest in. But if you don't mind long-term investing, which is a large majority of this game, is you gotta buy cards and hold on to them for a long time until they become worth something, because it's the whole supply and demand. And since the card in Magic, a lot of the cards are reprinted, there's always some supply. Then that's why there's always these rare occasions where that the supply doesn't meet the demand. There's not enough copies of something for the demand. Therefore, those cards go up in value because they're not commonly used or played. Like when it first came out, not many people were using the cards, and then maybe 5 years later, people now have a reason to use the card, and now they can't use. Now there's not that many copies because Wizards didn't make a whole bunch of copies because people weren't playing them in the first place. Why would they spend money printing out a whole bunch of copies and reprinting cards that no one was using in the first place? So because of that, those cards become worth money over time once the demand appears for those types of cards. Planeswalkers are a real typical thing to invest in. You can get a couple Planeswalkers for like less than $5 and then hold on to them. They could be worth more in the short term, but more likely you're going to have to wait a while for them to be worth something in the long term. Most Planeswalkers you can get foil, so you should get them foil and hold on to them, keep them in mint condition. You can even grade a lot of these cards. That will help increase the value over time, for collectors. That's another thing I have to take into account, is not just playability, that the supply and demand thing will happen. Sometimes it's just collectability. And if you have a card that not many people, that hasn't been printed as much, but it is a decent collectible card because it's only has one printing or whatnot. It's the only time it's ever been printed. Then it becomes a collectible right off the bat. So it'd be worth to hold on to 1 or 2 copies of the card, so that way, you can make money off the collector's market, not just off the player's market. Then you got legendary creatures. That's mainly for EDH, but at any given time, a legendary creature can be good in different formats like standard, legacies, modern, stuff like that, right? But mainly, commander is what you want to look for. You can get legendary creatures that have a solid color, like they're blue, black, white, whatever. But I personally like the idea of multicolor commanders, because those tend to be a little bit more popular when it comes to playing EDH. And I do like more than one type of color. I'm a fan of black and blue and artifacts, but those are colors, right? Black and blue. So of course I will like black blue commanders. Black blue commanders are artifacts, even more fun, right? So legendary creatures for EDH investments, and also investing in anything that can be played in EDH or played in a format where the cards won't rotate out. Always good investment, because the cards won't rotate out. So anything you invest in will see play in that format. Granted, it's more for casual than competitive play, but why not? I mean, you're trying to make money long term, so you want to put your bet on casual players, where you'll get your money from, than from competitive players. They're already gonna play what they're gonna play. So then we got artifacts, specifically old ones. If there's any good new ones that it's the first time they've been printed and they have a specific effect that is new and whatnot, like a new mechanic or something. It's good to invest in those and hold on to them, especially based off of the rarities. Right now I'm just telling you the card types, but then I'll explain about some of the rarities you want to look for, of course. But old artifacts are good, especially they have good effects. Some people like old school stuff, the whole nostalgic thing, and that's what you're trying to bank on. You're trying to bank on nostalgia. People who've been playing this game for years to want the cards, and they should have money, and they'll be willing to pay a lot to get something from their past. Enchantments as well, just like old legendary creatures, old Planeswalkers. Don't limit yourself just to whatever is new. Obviously, invest in old and new when it comes to these types of cards. But like I said, enchantments. I like enchantments and artifacts specifically, just like Planeswalkers and legendary creatures, because these are cards that stay on the field longer, which means they're a constant resource. So obviously, you want cards that have an effect that constantly plays out while you're playing. If you play the game, of course, it's better to invest. It's better for you. You have more knowledge when it comes to investing. You'll pick better cards if you actually play the game yourself. But I personally like cards that stay on the field longer. Unlike instances and sorceries where you play them and then they go to graveyard. I prefer stuff like Planeswalkers, creatures, artifacts, and enchantments. These are cards that stay on the field. Artifact equip cards, enchant creature cards, so forth and so forth. Lands are good to invest in if they have really good effects, but it depends. So I try to stay away from land investments. Maybe I'll make another video about that some other time when I get better at it, but I try to stay away from investing in lands. Instances. I'm not going to mention sorceries because it's not necessary. Sorceries, that varies. They can go up in value, they can go down in value. So it's not necessary. But instances are more popular because these are cards you can play during the player's turn. They only last at one time, but they're chainable. So your opponent plays a creature spell's ability or something, you can chain to it, or your opponent attacks and you can chain. So that's why obviously instances will be more in demand than sorceries in in basic gameplay. But sorceries, if you want to invest in sorceries, go ahead, especially if you find some really good ones. But I like to focus mainly on instances because that's the most popular type when it comes to sorceries and instances. Instances are more popular. People choose that more, especially for competitive play. They want to be able to do stuff on their opponent's turn. Who doesn't, right? Now, about rarities and card type. Basically rarities and just like things in general. Alright, so foil cards. Any card in foil, whether it be a common, this foil, or mythic, this foil, whatever. Any card you invest in, if you invest in an artifact and it's foil, that's good. By it being foil, it does increase its value, more so for collectors than for actual players. But there's some players who like to bling out their decks, their competitive decks and whatnot, EDH deck and so forth. The thing about foiling is that if you don't take good care of them, they can coil up. So obviously you gotta take good care of them when you're stocking up on foils, and you gotta store them somewhere proper where there's less moisture, because they'll fold up. You don't want that. You want them to be nice and flat and mint, right? But foils tend to be popular, mainly with collectors. So you obviously want to collect foils, especially foils of popular cards. Like if you can get foil lightning bolts, that'd be better than if you just got regular non-foil lightning bolts. You know what I mean? So getting foil versions of popular cards is good. Promo cards. Most promo cards tend to come foil. You buy like a pre-construct deck, and it comes with like a foil promo card of a card that comes in the deck or something. The promo cards are good in general. Judge cards, judge foils is what they're called. Those are worth some money, of course. Pre-release cards that actually has the little stamp thing on it where it shows when it was pre-released. So pre-release cards are good cards to collect into. And then rares and mythic rares. Those are the main rarities you want to focus on. There are uncommon and then of course commons, but that's the thing. Commons are common and uncommons are close to common, right? So there's going to be, like, you have to assume there's going to be a billion copies of those cards. So you don't want to focus on them heavily. But you can focus on foil commons and foil uncommons. Those are worth collecting. Investing in. Because they have a higher chance of being worth something, mainly because they're foil, not because they're common or uncommon. Commons and uncommon cards being worth money over time, that's rare than mythics and rares going up. Mythics and rares becoming valuable, that's more common to happen than commons and uncommons being worth more money. And that's the end of the video.